CocoTALK is an unscripted live broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own and not necessarily those of the CocoTALK show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds encouraged, sense of humor recommended. If any off-color comments were made, we're sorry.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS 80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CocoTALK.
This is CocoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks and grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CocoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CocoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Oh, here we are.
Hello.
Are we still getting reverb? We were on the opening song.
Probably because I had two mics. Well, no, I turned off the other mic, so.
Okay.
I think this other, the setup I have, I think created some reverb.
You sound fine right now.
That's because I'm now on my normal.
Or cowbell.
I was trying to use another mic for the talkover.
Are we live?
I hope so. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, we were on YouTube. I checked earlier. And
We're on
was
YouTube
streaming,
and
so.
Facebook. Yep. YouTube and Facebook are both up.
Wow.
Doesn't mean anyone's watching.
Well, we got 13 on YouTube.
And a couple on Facebook.
Oh,
And for those 13, we're sorry.
All right, let's see. I guess we'll start with the panel introductions. Let's see. Top left-hand corner, we have Mark Overhoster, and I forget your intro.
Yeah, I'm the Apple guy.
Next over is Ron Delvaux.
Hello.
I don't say it with the right accent.
Hello. So
Hello.
it's going to be 70. It's going to be 78 degrees here today.
Wow. Not quite
Yeah.
that.
Could be 39 here.
That's known as an Arizona cold snap.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up, sitting in the dark, is John Lowry.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Very good. What's that in the background?
It's I've been playing around with Coco VGA, and so I figured out how to control the colors. I'm trying to work on how to control the palettes next.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, trying to get some programming done on the Coco VGA. It's a process because it's not it's not that easy because you have to. The Coco VGA is a separate board, so you gotta talk to it.
And you got to time V-syncs and stuff too. So
Exactly, and everything is through a V-sync.
All right. Let's see. One step down and to the right, our own famous Rick Adams. How
Thank
doing,
you.
Rick?
You're too kind.
And breaker of monitors.
Indeed.
All right. Next over is see, I draw blank. Nick Mariota.
Hi, that's okay. How you doing? It's good to be here.
It's going to take me 3 times just to say it right.
Well, okay. Well, that's one. That's okay. That's quite all right. And of course, I have the best game in the world running behind me right now.
I was just going to mention the reason you got confused is you've got Buzzard Bait instead of Lancer running on your screen there. So.
Yeah. You're just overwhelmed with the awesomeness.
I'm glad we argue about the important things.
We do.
Yeah.
They're Joust clones.
Every single week.
Team Pegasus. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, if something's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Wow. Okay.
That's our motto.
All right.
Where's that dumpster fire?
Next over is L. Curtis Boyle.
Hello,
How you
everyone,
doing?
from sunny and actually above freezing Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
What?
You mean you don't have a minus in front of your temperature today?
No, we're going up to +4 Celsius, about 39 Fahrenheit, might even hit 40.
Wow.
It's warmer
which
than
is
here.
about 20 to 30 degrees higher than normal.
Yeah, it's been a
Time of
crazy warm winter this year.
Wow. Okay. Next over is Mike Furman.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Pretty good.
I just have one short message before I let you go. A couple of you have expressed concern about my wife, who is still in Hong Kong, and I've been speaking to her regularly. Everything is fine over there. None of my family members are sick, as far as we know, and my wife is still scheduled to come back to the United States on Monday, and seems like all systems go so far. So thank you all for the concern. Everything is fine.
Are they going to
Good
make
news,
her
man.
wait for 14 days or anything?
I believe they are going to make her self-quarantine for 14 days. But don't really know exactly. We'll find out. But she's a permanent resident and a family member of a U.S. citizen, so those are excluded from most of the stuff. So she should just be able to,
Good news, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good news.
All right.
Other than that, I've been busy soldering, but this is not a Coco item. All right, back to you.
Tempter.
Okay. Let's see. Next up, traveling on the road to. Finally made it out of New Jersey or West Virginia.
He's going to Florida, I believe.
Jason Reichard.
I think he's.
Hey, I guess I have cell coverage in the tunnel, so that's great. I should be in Virginia just about now. I don't know where the line is exactly here in the tunnel, but just heading down I-77. And,
did you go to Virginia to give up your guns?
Well, maybe not so good cell coverage.
He's gone.
All right. Next up, David Ladd.
Good day, everyone. I hope everybody's ready for today's show. I know I am. I'm all excited. I've been doing floppy drive stuff. I've been working with mice. I've just been working with everything. I hope you're all ready for today's show because I know Nick Morantes is like over here cringing next to me. Hi, Nick. Over to you.
God. So what's our viewership at now? Is it dropped suddenly?
-7, I think, was the last count I saw.
we were at 30. What are we on now? 5?
Somewhere around there.
Even the panelists will start dropping off now. So,
yeah, I apologize in advance for David Ladd for everyone. So,
all right. Well, how you doing, Nick?
I'm all right. Yeah, in the land down under.
Okay. Well, that's everyone on the panel so far. Let's go ahead and start in with the news.
There's not a ton this week, so this will be a fairly quick segment for a change.
Okay. Let's see. Let's push this.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
Yep.
Yes.
Ah,
hey, there are
virus
this...
outbreak, is it? I see me.
Yeah, this is the new virus called the Coco virus. And,
yeah.
As you can see, it's spreading worldwide.
Yeah, I'm going to China. It seems safest there.
Wait, did you say China?
Well, it doesn't have any viruses.
China.
Anyway, we talked about last week. We have this this cool page that was set up, and I can't remember who set it up now. Stevie's kind of taken it over since. I think was it Hugo set up the original? But anyway, it was basically people to put in where Coco owners are on the planet. Mars will be added later on. And in this case, Stevie had noticed he was kind of about a year behind updating them, so he actually spent some time this past week and updated all the requests and stuff. And I think he's up to just about 315 users now. And you can zoom in on the map. You can click on the individual dot or blue, whatever you call those things, markers, to find out who's there.
I think they're called pins, actually.
Pins, okay, sounds good. And there's some special pins too. So there's like wrenches and @ signs. @ signs, I believe that means they have a website link that's also built into the Google group. And then the wrenches for people that do hardware repairs, I believe.
Correct.
Okay.
Or upgrades.
Looks like we have a couple users who live in submarines. That's really cool. They're out in the middle of the ocean.
There's a lot there in South America.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised at how many people. There's quite a few down there. No wonder they have their own show like CocoFEST. once here. And of course, North America's got quite a few people. You can see that quite a few in the UK and European regions as well. A few around Japan and in the Philippines, and then a bunch in Australia. I don't see any in the Antarctica yet, so we have to get that covered at some point. But
Africa looks a little.
So which side are you on, Nick, of Australia?
On the east.
Okay.
He should be close to the top red @ sign. In fact, that may be him actually for his website.
Let's go take a look.
Will we see him waving?
No, that's Craig. Oops, I clicked.
No, there's no @ sign there. There
yes,
we go.
that is Nick, and he's got an @ sign because he has his own website.
Oh, wow.
You're imposing.
Who's the other one down south in Canberra?
Extructus, Brian Joyce.
Brian Joyce.
Well, he's the one hosting mine, so.
Anyway, it's a real cool feature, and it also means that if you're doing any holidays and stuff and you want to meet up with a fellow coconut, you can kind of get a look ahead of time to see if there's any in the area you're going to go holidaying, and then you'll maybe try to link up with them on Facebook or something and see if you can meet for a coffee or something. So
That's a great service. Someone.
Yeah. And it also lets you avoid David Ladd. So, I mean, you just have to figure where he is and just make a wide angle berth around it.
Ken wants to know what's the icon for people who break things like Mr. Ladd?
I don't know. I avoid David Ladd like I was mentioning earlier, so I'm not really sure what.
Good point.
Hey, I broke something. I guess I'm in the club.
We'll get right on that there, Rick.
Now, one question for you, Mark, since you seem to know what all the different pin symbols mean. What is the star? I can see like a yellow star and a green star. I don't know what the heck that means.
I believe the one star is for where CocoFEST is. If you zoom in.
That's this one here?
Yeah, I believe that one there.
Nope, missed.
It's really hard when it's not zoomed in. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, annual CocoFEST. So it's still saying 2017 for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the yellow star up in Canada is for.
Created this map. Hugo. Okay.
Yeah, Hugo.
We speculated earlier. So.
Yep.
He's special. CocoFEST Canada.
So you don't get a star for being a good boy?
Nope. I was reading Stevie's post about what the different things meant, so that's all I'm doing. Regurgitating what I read.
Okay. Anyway, Mark has posted the link to it, and if any listeners and viewers out there are not on the map yet and you want to be included on it, you can just click on the link there, and you can also contact Stevie on Facebook. And,
don't need your address, just a town name is good.
Yeah, you don't have to get specific. We don't want this to be a privacy concern where people can track exactly where you live. I mean, if you want to volunteer, that's up to you. But basically, it's just to get a rough idea where you are, so people can figure out who's in their area and maybe have a little club meeting.
I see Jason in West Virginia, or where is he in Virginia now?
Well, he's in Virginia now, but he lives in Eastern Ohio.
Yeah.
This is where you live, not your current location. I should mention that this is not live GPS tracking.
Where's David? So
we should work on that.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, I thought we were advanced here.
Well, that would be a major privacy concern if you can track somebody in real time. So
we just need one of those Harry Potter maps.
APRS.
Mischief managed.
Yay, APRS. Cool.
So how many entries are there? Like
almost 315 at last count. I saw there was a couple requests done after that. I don't think Stevie's got to yet, so we're probably over 315 by now.
Cool.
And this Facebook group is coming up on 3,000. So I mean, there's a lot not on there.
Oh.
But I don't know how many of those 3,000 users are active versus inactive at this point.
I'm actually not on there. I need to get on that.
Okay. Anyway, it's a cool map. Feel free to join if you haven't already, and feel free to check out who's nearby, and you can meet up. Next story up, and I almost regret having to do this because it involves floppies, and David Ladd's going to flip.
Oh no, we need to bury this one.
Yeah. Henry Reitfeld, excuse me, posted a video on YouTube showing how to create physical discs all the way from a WAV file for the Coco and the Dragon. And it's a 6.5 minute long video, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. But basically he goes through how to digitize it and then how to transfer it to an actual physical disc and going back and forth the different things to do that, because it's kind of roundabout doing that type thing. And he does on the Dragon in this particular video. Plays it from his phone. So he, Claude M's it, and then basically he does the peaks and stuff to figure out where machine language program is addressed. so you can save it across. And he also had some tricks. I think he mentioned in the comments too that on how you can do it for ones that try to load over top of the disk basic variables that are stored from 600 to E00. Because generally, if you load those things, go kind of funky, and it kind of helps you get around that. But it's a pretty informational video, and it actually goes right to the point of getting it onto a physical floppy, and then loading it off the floppy to prove that it worked. So, interesting video there.
Hey, over in the chat, we had a question, as soon as I can find it again, about the map.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wanting to know if you had to actually own a Coco or be a member of some certain group to get on the map. So maybe we can review how to get on the map.
Mark, you wouldn't happen to have the link for the Facebook posting that people reply to get put on the map? And no, I don't think you have to physically own a Coco.
I can find it. I believe it was in like last week's notes. So yeah.
Okay.
I will.
As far as qualifications for getting on it, as long as you're running even an emulator or something, like if you're just involved with a Coco or you have nostalgia for it, you're running emulators these days, or if you're running the real hardware, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
General interest in Coco is required. I will say that.
Because if somebody
what a Coco
they're going to want to talk. They're going to want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Coco, I love that hot chocolate drink.
And it could be the people that are joining the map and stuff are actually trying to find one, a real Coco too. So it's you might find somebody nearby who's got like 4 extras or something. So
you mean a Coco 2 or a Coco also?
Yes.
What if you want a Coco 3?
Nobody needs that.
Also,
no, too much power.
I want a Coco 4.
What do you want it for?
On that.
Everything to rule the world.
Is that
All right,
Brian?
so what you got there, Curtis? The Coco Cat headroom?
I'll just wait to see if Mark found the link. Did you post that up link?
I'm looking here from last week's stuff. So
okay. Anyway, monitor the chat, and Mark will post the link shortly. Hopefully
hey, Curtis, check out that monitor name.
Oh. Purely coincidental. It's not an ad for my own site or anything. Okay, the next story here. Henry also posted up a video showing the Coco Cat headroom, and there was some discussion. Alan Huffman was looking for the original Max headroom demo, which I believe Eric Gavrlik did back in '87. Based on Color Max, they did some animated palette stuff to make this Max headroom. If you guys remember the TV show.
Oh yeah.
And this was by Fred Scribo, who did a ton of articles for Rainbow. A lot of educational stuff, a lot of graphic stuff in BASIC, and he actually did a Coco Cat headroom, which is based on that, published in Rainbow in 1987, and it actually uses a speech sound cartridge if you have that too, along with some P14 graphics. And this is a fairly short video, so can you guys hear the audio?
No.
Still can't hear it?
No.
Oh,
Can't hear it.
Well, did somebody hearing it now or no?
No.
Nope.
Oh, I'm sure.
Did you share sound when you shared your screen?
I'm pretty sure I did, but maybe not. Okay, let me just stop that and I'll just reshare with the audio. Which I'm positive I did the first time.
it looks like the audio is plugged in there.
It says here options are not available when multiple people can share at the same time. So I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I'm not sure where that came from or what it's doing. That's going to cause a problem with some of the other ones too.
Okay, Curtis, it's taken care of. Try again.
Nick Marotta, time to play your.
As usual, blame David Ladd.
Okay, I'm just going to stop share again because it wasn't letting me see that
What?
again. So
Did David break something again?
So what was it going on, David, just for future reference?
Multiple streamers were enabled.
Oh, okay. Let's rewind this a bit here.
There's something.
Oh, jeez.
I take it you can hear it now.
A little bit louder.
A little louder?
Take that, speech sound pack critics.
Yeah, it's actually got the stuttering like Max Headroom had too. So it's a pretty cool little demo, anyway.
It is neat.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Anyway, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but yeah, it was published in Rainbow back in '87, so you guys can actually get the file for it off the archive.
Curtis, I posted the link in chat, in Zoom chat, for the map on Facebook. The map.
Oh, okay.
The map link.
Did you post it in general so Mark can grab it and throw it in the chat too,
or? Mark, you should see it. Did you see it in chat?
Yeah, I already grabbed it. I just did a search on the TRS-80 group and found it. So
okay,
cool. Okay, next up.
You know what? That cat has a Black Beauty nose.
Yeah, it's a fairly simple, basic program. It's basically just page flipping 2 different images and then just talking to the speech sound pack. So it's actually not even that complicated of a program. Next up here, Antonio Carlos Jimenez Eli, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, shared a link to the high-resolution joystick. Oh, thanks. High-resolution joystick mouse cartridge, 256 by 182. So this is Coco 1 and 2 era, not like the high-res, Tandy high-res package. It has the same resolution as the original CocoMax one. I'm not sure if it's exactly based on that or if it's its own independent design. But he's actually got like the complete manual for it here. Including like some hardware details and schematics and everything else too. So if it is compatible with the CocoMax one, this might be for anybody who has CocoMax or CocoMax 2 but does not have the hardware cartridge, which can be a bit hard to find. This might be a way to build one. But I'm not sure if that's the exact same one or not. So if any of you guys more hardware oriented than I am can tell if that looks like the original design of the CocoMax cartridge.
I have no idea, but I want to build it.
It almost looks like it's got a UART in it. No,
well, that's an ADC. That's an analog to digital.
ADC,
yeah, it's the same chip that was actually used for the joysticks on the TC9. But a nice little thing. It tells you exactly where it's mapped and how it works and some sample source code and hardware schematics and everything else. So it's a complete project. It's not like one of these ones where you just get some hardware and then you have to kind of write your own software. There's some software there for you. So, and I'd never seen this before. So good.
It's CocoMax compatible, the same as the
I don't know. That's my question. I don't know too much about the hardware specs of the CocoMax one to know. Does that look familiar?
David Ladd, get on it.
Open mine and take a look.
Hey! I never had one of those modules but this particular device, I think I want to build it. Oh, yeah.
Hey, isn't FF40 used in something else? Like
the disk drive? Yes.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is that right now there's many devices that are using FF40. You want to know what? Right now, the GMC uses FF40. The floppies use FF40. The Coco SDC uses FF40. I also believe the Mega Mini, also for the audio and the serial ports, uses the FF40 range. So yes, there's a lot of devices that use FF40 range.
Okay.
And nothing's been broken yet, so we're good.
Well, if you have a multi-pack, it's a little bit easier to jerk, jockey around them. But if you try to make a Y cable with a disk controller in this, I'm assuming it would not work too well.
That would be affirmative, Curtis.
Next up, the Coco crew is sponsoring a programming contest called Coco Challenge instead of Retro Challenge because it's Coco specific. John Linville's ran the Retro Challenge, which is for basically any retro computer. So this one they want running between basically Valentine's Day and April Fool's Day, and they want you to kind of document and blog your progress as you go, just same as the Retro Challenge. And they have a prize that they're going to be offering a free dinner with them on Friday evening before the show really starts. Or they can make alternate arrangements for a prize if it's say for example you win and you're not there till too late in the day or something like that, or you can't make it to the fest. So if any of those
a new car.
Yeah. One of Nick's Ferraris or something. Yeah.
Reach into the drawer of Ferraris.
At any rate, if you're interested in doing that type of thing, I don't mind doing programming stuff. I mean, I'm busy with Nitrous 9 Ease of Use stuff. But in my case, I'm not really good at blogging and documenting stuff. So as anybody who's read the documentation for EOU has probably already figured it out by now. So, but if you're good at doing that kind of stuff, then it might be a fun project to do with a little bit of a prize at the end of it. Next up here, Diego actually has he's got his own channel on YouTube, and this is a kind of learning how to use VCC to emulate a Coco 3 and how to set it up and how to do certain things and stuff like that. But it's actually done in Spanish. So for any of our listeners that we were looking at on the map earlier from down in, either Europe or in Spain, or maybe in, some of the countries down in South America that have Spanish.
United States.
Oh yeah.
California.
Some States too. Yeah.
Texas.
But anyway, he actually goes through and kind of does explanations, and I don't understand Spanish, so I can't really tell if he's telling the truth on any of this stuff or not, but. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Can anyone understand it?
He said cassette. I heard that.
And program.
And I think it's great that he's actually doing some of these in other languages so we can expand the Coco community beyond. I mean, basically, right now you'd have to speak both Spanish and English in order to participate with any of the stuff on Facebook and our show and any of the other shows. And he's, spreading the word amongst the people that may only have Spanish as their native language, and kind of bringing them into the fold and showing them how to run the emulators and stuff and how to actually use some of the commands on the Coco. So I think that's a great idea. I hope he continues on and makes a series out of this.
I agree. That's awesome.
Nick, you should an Australian one.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, you can tell us how to program upside down, and it'd be just awesome.
Yeah, across the top it says file configuration, cartridge, and crikey.
Yeah.
Crikey, look at those registers.
And then lastly, this just got released yesterday. The Coco broadcast for the month of January has been released. The game review this month was Carillion Cruiser, which I haven't had a chance to play yet, though I've read about it. And the interview was actually with Dale Puckett, author of several OS9 books, the OS9 column in Rainbow for years. And it's a nice short little follow-up interview, because we did an interview with him back in around Christmas of 2018. I think it was episode 88. I looked it up. So basically there's two interviews with Dale about some of his Coco escapades and also some of his other, technical history and computer history as well. So it's a pretty interesting interview. I did actually get a chance to listen to that not too long before the show here, and it's a good interview. So that might be worth your time too, as well as all the regular stuff you get on the Coco Crew. And that's all I got for this week. It's been a pretty sparse news week, but I'll have a bigger Game On segment because we didn't do Game On last week. So, and that is the end of the news.
All right. Hey, what do you say we take a commercial break and then go into the Game On segment?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, let me find one to push on here.
And now a word from our sponsors.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
This year, I needed to give a real family pleaser.
Honey, please help me with this budget.
How about a new game, Dad? Please.
And I found it. Radio Shack's Color Computer 2. On sale for just $99.95. It entertains, educates, manages. It's expandable and affordable. Now that really pleases me.
The Color Computer 2. Sale price for Christmas. Only at Radio Shack.
Hi, this is Antonio Jimenez, author of such projects such as the Stevie Throw Devil and the SD Pack, and you are watching CocoTALK in 3, 2, go.
Ow, ow.
scared you, didn't I? Hello there, it's me, Simone, and I'm here to say a big hello to original gamer Stevie Stroh. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name, but I tried regardless. So if it's not, please insert the proper way to say it now. Now, I hope you're having a fabulous time. Hope you're having a fabulous new year. Season's greetings, all the above. All the way from Melbourne to you, my darling. And congratulations on your talk show, CocoTALK. Oh my God, that's so exciting. I don't think I'd ever be good at a talk show. I just don't have anything ever to say, ever. Just can never think of things to say. It's just no words ever come out of my mouth. It's just very embarrassing. It's just silence all the time. My darling, I hope you're having a fabulous day. From me to you, bye.
Radio Shack, America's technology store.
Right! This Christmas, Tandy has a very special offer. A family color computer pack to take away at a very special price. This family computer comes complete with software and costs an incredible $449, a saving of $241.69. It's powerful, educational, and ideal for the young and young at heart. The easy way to start computing. The Color Computer Family Pack from Tandy. Get it while it's hot. Tandy, the biggest electronics store in Australia.
Hi, this is Sean Wheatley, and you're listening to CocoTALK with the original gamer, Stevie Stroh.
We're traveling through a dimension both of sound and ideas. We're at a place where the mind can comprehend and devise a solar radio, a wireless transmitter, measure time and light. 65 electronic projects brought to reality with this science fair kit. Astonishing? Perhaps, but you can find it for Christmas for $17.95 in a place that's known as Radio Shack.
Radios, stereos, recorders, everything in sound.
We now return you to CocoTALK.
Now I know why that one's number 8 in the rotation.
Why? That was cool.
Were they really playing the Land Down Under as the background music to that Australian ad?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. The Muzak version, but yeah.
That's amazing.
In the original broadcast version they did?
No, it
No,
wasn't.
that's right. That's what I thought.
No, it was added in by Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It goes well with it, though.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Stop some share and let's do, whoops, maybe not quite just yet.
I still have a love-hate relationship with the whiny kid and whiny wife Christmas commercial.
All right, we're ready for a game on?
Sure.
Done an intro in there, but hey, go ahead. Take it away, Curtis.
Welcome to Game On. Is that good enough as an intro?
Yeah. I reckon David Ladd does a better job.
Oh, of course.
All right, everybody, and welcome to Game On. And now, your Game On host, Curtis Boyle.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not too
He
bad.
is hot. What
Yeah,
are
David
our
is.
viewer numbers now? Have they gone down yet?
Okay, we didn't do a Game On last week, so there'll be a little bit more than there was in the news this week for Game On. The first one here, Ken, brother of Jason, who's on the call, I think still, posted a link to the video of the history of Zaxxon, which goes from the arcade games to the home ports as well. And the Coco is mentioned here, and I've got it just queued up just before the Coco part. So right now we're on the Terra City Model 1 and 3 version, which, can you recognize Zaxxon out of that one?
Oh, yes.
The Coco.
I mean,
1
it's impressive
version.
they tried, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, man, somebody had a lot of, like I'm going to actually tackle this with a Coco.
It
or
could
the
use some
Model 1.
imagination.
Can't even see it with a squint. It's like, what?
It's a little better when it's in motion.
Yeah, a
Back in
little
the
bit.
day, you loved it. Doesn't matter.
Nick Randy, since you actually had a Model 1, what was your impression of the Zaxxon?
Yeah, exactly what you said. It's a bit hard to see the actual game. It is better when it's moving, though. But yeah, it's a little bit. It was an adventurous attempt.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you how do they word it?
Well, considering the Coco 1 had no graphics, they managed
Well,
to get a
it
couple of
did.
graphics out of it.
That
They're
was
just really
it, what
low
you're
res,
seeing.
128 by 48 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was ambitious. It's one of those things that, was done, but maybe it probably shouldn't have been. I guess. I don't know. To be honest, it's not bad considering the hardware limitations. It's actually it's pretty impressive they managed to pull it off as well as they did.
The programmers of this game wrote a lot of good games actually on the Model 1. This was, I think, their last one. Yeah, it was a bit adventurous, but
But you don't know till you try, so I give them props for that.
But it is better when it's moving.
Better than I could do.
So play the video and we'll see.
Okay, well, I'll back it up just so you can see a little bit of the Model 1 here,
Yeah.
and then it'll segue into the Coco version.
The speed of the game is very close to the arcade game, and the playability is good. They also released Zactron for the Coco or TRS-80 color computer. Now this is much better with nice detailed backgrounds and sprites. The playfield looks a little narrow to me, but other than that, everything is very true to the arcade game. The sound effects are good with a nice use of explosions all throughout. Playability is good and reminiscent of the arcade game. The Coleco Atom personal
Anyway, they go through a whole bunch of different home console versions of it and home computer versions of it. Some of them they weren't too impressed with. Actually, the Coco got one of the better ratings.
Yeah.
For some of the older ones. So definitely a video worth checking out.
Steve Bjork for you.
Yeah.
Next up is a game that was released a long time ago, but finally made to the Coco archive just this past week, called Indiana Jim. And it's a graphical adventure game, but with a fairly unique looking joystick mouse interface. And it's Coco 1 and 2, so it doesn't require Coco 3. But you can see all the icons here on the bottom. So you got some movement icons, go up and down stairs, so, type of thing. But then they got a bunch of other icons. And I don't even know what half of these do because I haven't had a chance to play the game yet. It kind of reminds me of Interbank Incident, except it's got a lot more icons than Interbank does. But they did really good use of the artifacting colors and using the cross-hatching to get kind of yellows and purples. And
it says it's PAL.
Well, his emulator's running in PAL.
His emulator is, yeah.
Nice graphics, though.
Yeah, now the graphic in the upper left here, I'd have to go back and check, but that really, really reminds me of Mark Dada's Black Sanctum. I'm wondering if they actually lifted some of the graphics from there. The trees and the clouds just look really familiar. I'd have to go compare them side by side, but wouldn't be the first time that people have, borrowed. There's some full screen pictures there too, where you don't have the icons on the bottom. Like I said, I haven't played the game. If Bryza was on here, I'd ask him like what it plays like. Do you do certain thing and then all of a sudden it goes to a full screen image to show you what's happening and then back to the interface version of the screen or not? So has anybody here on the panel had a chance to try it yet?
First time I've seen it.
I saw the post on Facebook, but I haven't played with it yet.
Okay. It does look promising. I'm going to try to check it out this week. So
it has a learning curve, they say.
Well, unless you can find the directions, I'm not sure what all those icons do. I know what some of them do, but not all of them at first glance. Next up now, since we didn't have one last week, the Pet Sass Jim one YouTube channel that has all the Dragon game videos. Now he's been doing them alphabetically, so now we're at the tail end. So he's basically, as of last week, he's completed all of the Dragon games that he was covering. Now he's still continuing on with Dragon programs, but he's doing like educational and utilities and word processors and that kind of stuff, which to me isn't as exciting to watch on live. But if you guys are interested in some of the Dragon stuff, and they have like music editors and stuff that we never had here too in North America for the Coco, so they got their own unique versions of some of these types of programs. If you're interested in that kind of thing, then just hit his YouTube page because he's still actively doing those even today, and he'll probably be going for another week or two on those. But back to the game ones. This one's called World Boxing in 1986, and it's a basic program with some ML subroutines. So it was kind of an interesting take in boxing, and I think if I remember the actual boxing part of it reminds me, and I'm trying to remember if it was an Atari 2600 version of boxing, maybe in television. But we'll let you guys take a look here. You getting the sound, I hope?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that guy's just ripped.
Oh, yeah.
Severely beaten up.
It's a picture of David as a young lad. We'll skip the 1.5 minutes.
What's a UDG? Underground, what?
I have no idea. Something graphics. And it says probably the best boxing game for the Dragon 32.
That's
Not definitely, just probably.
You get to pick your opponent, and these are actual real fighters.
As a matter of fact, I'm in the city that Leon Spinks is from.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And apparently there was a joystick version and a keyboard version, so he's playing the keyboard version in this particular case. And I don't think he ran the double speed poke. I don't think he really knows what it is. So
Jeremy Landry says, humble brag, probably.
That was your referee.
It's like a top-down.
Oh, this is like the Atari.
Yeah, that looks like the Intellivision one.
Oh, is it television? That was Atari.
That's what I was trying to remember. If it was the 2600 or the Intellivision.
Maybe both.
Well, they might be both the same.
Didn't Activision make one that kind of looked like that for the 2600?
Maybe, yeah.
I'll wait till he gets a punch in the head here. So there, got a point. It's pretty ambitious for basic, I thought.
Oh, it's a basic program? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got ML subroutines for the music stuff, but that's pretty well it as far as I can tell. Riveting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, move on.
Now I know how I'm going to fall asleep tonight.
That's why he said probably.
So apparently they didn't get knockout or punch out from Dave Dyes there. So maybe that's one I'll have to, when I get back to doing 6 or 9 conversions, I might have to tackle that one so we can pass that back on to the Dragon people so they have a better boxing game.
Don't forget to donate to your local TBI group.
TBI?
Yeah. Brain
What's that?
injury.
Oh, okay.
Guy got hit in the head 800 times.
Oh, is that what happened to David Ladd? Oh, okay, now I understand. Sorry, David.
You do realize David has always been a lad. Young
That's
or old,
true.
brother.
A strapping young ripped lad in that picture there. So next up is Wumpus Mansion. This is also in basic. And basically, has 2 mini games built into it. And when I originally saw the title come up, I figured it was going to be a pure Hunt the Wumpus type thing, but it's actually not quite. So just fast forward a little bit past. So 4 players. So that immediately keyed in. That's a little bit different than the standard Hunt the Wumpus.
Oh, it's in a hotel.
Yeah, this is CocoFEST, and
Do you have an elevator portion?
yeah.
Where's the heron?
Stuck in an elevator. That riveting sound you get in basic.
Yeah, some Bach.
Tingling special effects.
As you wander around the rooms and you get to see, you get items and stuff like that, and money, etc. So that's one portion.
High contrast, low res graphics.
Yeah, it's almost as good as that
Digital to
song.
analog converted sound.
And I'll fast forward to the graphical portion.
Ooh.
When do we get to the swimsuit competition?
So this one, I think you have to navigate the maze and try to get to the exit before the countdown timer. And here he's just figuring out controls as usual. He doesn't do any prep work at all trying to play this. He just fires up a game for the first time and goes. Kind of reminds me of Stevie, actually.
It's a nice font.
So if you hit the wall, you start over.
Yep. Which definitely makes it more challenging, especially when you got a timer going at the same time.
It's like those PC games where it makes you concentrate, and then screams at you and shows you a scary picture.
See, I can't remember if you made it through here or not.
I hope so.
Jeremy Lander said, Crikey, did you get a look at that Wumpus? What a beaut.
10 seconds. Can you make it? And I'm assuming you lose money when you run into the walls and have to restart. I'm assuming that's how that game mechanic works. Anyways, an interesting basic game back in 1984. Next one up is Zorak the Conqueror. It has a nice little loading screen. That's one thing the Dragons seem to have a lot more of than we did in the Coco. We had some that had those semi-graphics loading screens, but it just looked like just about every Dragon game had that.
It said converted, so was there like an
Yeah, this might have been
another...
ported from the Spectrum or something. Some of the other British computers around at the time. There's quite a bit of cross-pollination between them all. This one, I'm not sure the game mechanics here. I know you can walk between the houses and stuff. And you have a grid you kind of walk your guy through. I guess he died or something there. I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't know too much about the game. It just, for a basic game, the layout looked pretty interesting. I'm not sure what the gameplay mechanic is, and from what I can tell from the video, neither did the guy making the videos. So. But you do have to keep track of food. You have to try to get gold, etc. So, kind of almost a graphical mini adventure or something. Next one up after that is Zotoka. Now, this is a two-part. There's one program that loads in that give you the instructions, which are fairly detailed, and then there's the actual gameplay itself. And if any of you guys have ever played games like Prickly Pear's Viking or Erland or Castle Grey Moon from Computer Shack / Mictron, it's one of those simulation things where you're trying to do food and try to increase your population, and you can go to war with other people. So this is a Dragon unique version. I'm not going to go through the directions because there's a ton of them. It's kind of almost a simulation. And Paul Lawton did some other games, and I'm trying to remember, was he one of the authors of Fire Draka for the Coco? Can't remember if that was him. Might have been a different guy. But I think he's written some other stuff too.
I took a Toka and my Zoka.
Like I said, I don't think he's actually running the double speed poke on some of this stuff here, but now most of the games that did this type of simulation usually were just pure text based. They might do a little map to show the size of your kingdom and how many castles and various things that you have. This one actually did it in full P Mode 4 graphics, which was a bit more unique. But basically, your goal is to increase the size of your kingdom and to increase your population and then defend yourself and make sure you can feed everybody and make sure the grain doesn't get eaten or stolen or whatever by rats, etc. So it's a simulation, sort of like a very early, Sim City or something along that line. But I hadn't seen one done graphically before on the Coco, so that was kind of interesting. But basically, just manage your city type thing. Now, the next one up here is called 609 Express. I will play a little bit of the intro music, and then I'm going to fast forward ahead because he was having problems playing this game. I don't know if he just didn't figure out the controls or if the game's corrupt. So I won't play too much of the actual gameplay. Basically, what it looks like is that you're trying to steer this train. It has this animated train going through. And normally, just watching it, the train zip along. And then there's a little map on the bottom which shows parallel tracks and then crossovers between tracks. So I'm assuming you have to steer between the tracks and not run into obstacles. But then the part I'll be fast forwarding to here actually goes into showing you like airplanes flying over and bombing your train, which looked interesting too. So this is a game I would like to find and download and then try to figure out how to actually play it and see what it's like, because it does look like interesting. Has some digitized speech. Some multi-voice music as an intro. And let's see where You can see he's on the middle track on the map, and then he hit an obstacle. I don't know how you get past that. He did there, though. And then you have this plane fly over and bomb your train.
689 Express.
So he dies repeatedly on this, but I'm not sure if he just didn't understand the controls now. But it looks like an interesting game, and it doesn't seem to be a clone of anything I've ever seen before. So I do want to try that one later on. And that's it. He's basically gone through the alphabetical games on the Dragon, so that's where he ended at. There was, as I've mentioned before on the show, there's been multiple text-based adventure games and stuff, which all kind of look the same. So there's no point in playing them all. But there's a ton of videos he did on those that I have not played on the show. So if you're into text adventure games, feel free to check some of those out too. And I think because I've been helping Paris Surratt port some Coco games to the Dragon, I might try to do some stuff the other way too and take some Dragon games that maybe the keyboard matrix is set up wrong and actually fix some of those, later this summer or something like that, and see if we can get some of the games over on the Coco side of things to try. So.
Okay.
Next up, last week after Coco Talk on Saturday evening, Stevie did a couple of streams of playing some Coco games. We all covered Rick's Temple of Rom 2, and actually live on the show, Rick found a few bugs while watching some of the gameplay, so he fixed those. So it proved actually pretty good for debugging. Rick, have you made any more progress on Temple of Rom 2 since then, or?
Quite a bit, actually. Right now, what I've been struggling with is color sets. Trying to make sure that it works correctly on composite and RGB monitors, and trying to make it so that the default color sets make sense. So I've been doing that. I found a few more stray monsters that were wandering around outside of their rooms, and I fixed those. And a couple other little bugs. I don't remember which ones, but it's getting pretty close to done. So I'm pretty happy.
Okay, that's good to hear. We'll probably once you have it done, we'll do a follow-up and the big reveal presentation and massive Rick Adams interview to cover that one.
One thing I would like to share at some point, streaming, is showing how you design a level for this and how that's done. It's not super easy. You have to be a bit technical to figure it out, but it's not impossible either. So I think people might find that interesting.
Yeah, that might make a good segment to do on Game On, actually, is how to do that. So maybe we can cover that in the future. And another part of the thing is we went through Digger 3, so we had multiple people playing that. Now, I guess Chet had kind of revealed this to some other people during a live stream on Discord earlier, that he's got some new effects that he's been fiddling with in Digger 3. One was doing actual lighting effects. So basically where your character is lit up, and then it gets darker as you get further away. And then he also introduced some parallax scrolling, which, I mean, Gunstar, what Nick has done on Gunstar level 2 with the asteroids, you get your star field going at one speed, and then your asteroids, which are closer to you, move faster. So it gives you a parallax scrolling effect too. And Chet actually took it almost to another level here, the whole background behind a background type thing. So the first step is the lighting effects going through it. And I'll just play this, this little segment of, I'm not going to play the whole several hours we were playing the games and stuff, but it's a really cool effect.
This is, let's see, actually this one isn't the parallax, but you'll like it.
You can see the bat in the middle there
that
going
must be the Strobridge
in that darker area.
And that's the one where you got like the hidden items and the bats like revealing stuff that's behind them.
Yeah, it's a dynamic lighting effect. So,
but when he goes through, it actually does a full lighting effect.
Like some of the old Atari games had like the children's mode on it with a little bear symbol.
That's pretty cool.
Does it light up if you get next to them too? Or only the bad guys?
No, when you get next to them, see?
But you can see like rings and stuff suddenly kind of form around like you were holding a little torch.
So,
which is a really cool effect.
That's one of the other feature creeps he's talking about.
Oh no, that's been ready for a while. I just activated it when I got the when I freed up some memory.
Yeah, Chet mentioned on the show too that he's hitting the limits of 512K.
Parallax was we're both done. The only thing that was waiting on was assets, images.
Are you starting to run out of room in 512K already, or?
Yeah, I'm real close.
Hmm.
Oops, I don't want to.
You might have to create the first 1 meg game then.
Let's do this.
And here's the parallax. If you can see those
So there it is.
reddish
Check
orange
that
background.
out.
Look at that. That's cool.
Oh wow, that does look cool.
That's what you were you were trying to do in your Cosmic Ambush, weren't you, Nick? That type of effect.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, way back.
You could see where you're going to put it in your Cosmic Ambush.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a really cool effect, and he actually did it a way that I wouldn't have anticipated at the time. He actually has just regular tiles there, but they rotate through their animations at a different speed than a regular tile does. So basically, it flips between the different versions of the tile as you scroll back and forth at a different, like say, twice the speed or half the speed as the regular tiles for the scrolling. So it's actually a trick to simulate the parallax effect, rather than drawing the whole background and then drawing the whole foreground type thing. So it just rotates through. So it's a really, really cool effect.
That's because when you move, objects in the far distance don't appear to move as far as the closer ones. So
yeah,
it gives that illusion of more depth.
Yeah. And he actually
really use that air.
Yeah, we did. I did talk to him about the fact that you could have, say, the bat fly in there and actually disappear behind the blue walls. And he said, yeah, actually, the engine would handle that right now, so you could have something hidden behind in that second level plane and then fly out into your current level plane. Should be really cool too. I'm really looking forward to Digger 3 when it gets released, which should be pretty quick, I think. But it was just funny because I know, Nick, you've mentioned that Gunstar only takes about half of the 512K, or just over half.
300K total is all it's using.
Yeah, and right now Digger 3 is taking almost the entire 512. And Chet has publicly stated his next game will definitely be requiring more than 512K. So
512K should be enough for anything.
Well,
Which
I mean,
means
according to
if
Nick
you haven't-
Marotta, a Coco 2 should be enough for everybody.
Which means if you have upgraded your Coco 3 yet to more than 512K, you need to.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm hearing this.
Oh, don't worry. I'm all set for more RAM on my machines.
Yep. Both my Coco 3s have got 2 meg or more. So next up, we have a couple of videos from a guy called himself Jorf, and I think he posted about this on Facebook too, but unfortunately I couldn't find the link, so I couldn't remember his real name, but that's what he's calling himself on his YouTube channel. And basically what he did is he did 2 speedrun videos of playing Coco games. For those not familiar with the speedrun is, these are for ones that have multiple levels that you have to get through, and it's like the fastest way that they can get through it, so you can do it in the least amount of time. Now, a lot of the Coco older games are just, repetitive. You just do the same thing over, like Space Invaders or whatever, so there's no levels per se to get through. But he picked a couple of games here that actually have levels that you can get through in a certain amount of time. So Downland, which is a difficult game to get through all 10 chambers, period. And he actually gets to the 10th chamber and wraps it at 1 minute, 7 2/3 seconds into it, or 7 minutes and 7 2/3 seconds. So basically, he got it done in about just over 7 minutes, which is pretty darn impressive because most of the time I play Downland, I can't make it to all 10 chambers, period, no matter how long I'm playing it. And then the second one he did was Canyon Climber, which he did all 3 levels in just over a minute, which is pretty impressive. So I'll play a little bit of Downland here, and I'll kind of fast forward. Now, how many of here have seen all 10 levels of Downland?
I think I've seen them, but I don't think I've seen them completed.
And I will mention he's running on VCC, the Coco 3 emulator, so the artifacting here is kind of blocky looking because that's just the way VCC does artifact colors. Not very well. MAME does a lot better job. So there's chamber 1. And of course, the way Downland's set up, you have to skip back and forth between chambers to get keys. So it's not, you just go through a contiguous chamber numbers. There's chamber 2. Back to chamber 1 to get a key.
Oh, key you have to unlock in chamber 2.
Yep. And here's chamber 3. Chamber 4. He's got his jumps down really good too, I have to say, especially with those ones you bounce back and forth. Back to Chamber 3. Back to Chamber 2. Chamber 5. This is usually about the limit I ever got in the game on most of my gameplays. Chamber 6. Back to Chamber 1. Get that extra key. It's a lot of backtracking. It's almost an adventure game to try to figure out how to get everything. Here's Chamber 7. It's Chamber 8. Just kind of an acid drop hell.
Does he actually complete this, or?
Well, the game wraps and just becomes harder. So he does complete the 10 chambers and he's back to Chamber 1 again.
Oops.
A quick and dirty way to get back. And then he's wrapped back to Chamber 0, where you have way more acid drops. And then later on, they actually start putting the acid drops in a lot closer on the rope, so you have to kind of like hang off the edge.
Yeah.
And here, this I think quite a few people here on the panel could probably do this on the early levels of Canyon Climber, which is to zip through all 3 levels in, just over a minute. Because it's not too hard. Even the last screen isn't too hard on the early levels, but once you start racking them up and wrapping the levels over, it starts getting harder and faster with the more stuff going on at quicker speeds. Now, I think Stevie had mentioned at some time during the week he was thinking about trying to figure out some other games that might be good for speed runs, and I thought that'd be a good suggestion here from the panel to maybe have a bit of a competition. If we do another evening show or even at the fest or something, to see who we could get for the fastest through multiple levels in the game. And I mean, I don't know too many other games that actually have levels. Like Cashman might be one, though there's like 45 plus levels to get through. So I don't know if that would be doable as a speed run thing. But is there any other games you guys can think of that would be subject to this type of a speed run type thing? Coco 1, 2, or 3 games.
Like Donkey Kong type games.
Yeah, or Donkey Kong Jr. Junior's Revenge, etc.
I mean, there's also speed runs that are when you complete a game, so you could do something like Pitfall 2 or something like that.
Yeah, that would be another one too. I mean, those are a bit longer speed runs, obviously, but
Jeremy Landry says Digger 3.
There you go.
Can we do buzzard bait versus
Lancer?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. And the last 2 I have here, Jim Gary, he's actually going to be entering John his channel. So the first one here, this is a game I'd never heard of before called Solo Chess. So it's a 1-player chess game where you get a very limited chessboard, and you have to basically try to use standard chess pieces that are given to you on that particular board with the rules of how they can move to try to eliminate them all, as it's mentioning on here. There's no check thing, so you can't swap your piece in the bottom. There's no castling, etc. But basically, you must, anyone with a king, you must result with the king being the last piece. And basically, you have to try to eliminate them all without getting stuck where you can't move. So it's kind of an interesting thing. If anybody's into chess, it's kind of a fun way to play, is solo chess from not having to have a partner or a computer program to play against. And the graphics are pretty good looking for a low-res game. So here he got stuck. He made it so there's no move he can make, so he didn't get down to the last play. And then after you complete each level, you get a different layout with a different puzzle to solve with different pieces with their different movement types. So I thought it was a pretty cool take on chess. And the other one I did here is Alpha Force, which I think he showed the MC10 version of this one earlier, which is kind of a Targ style game. If you remember the arcade game Targ, or Storm Arrows on the Coco from Spectral Associates is a higher res version of the same type of thing. Now, I think he must be running the double speed poke here because this is running faster than I remember the MC10 version running. And you're the @ sign in case you haven't figured that out yet. You navigate a maze and just shoot the opponent.
Because that's where you're at.
And he does the color changes between levels. And that is the end of my portion of Game On. Now, I don't know if Nick or anybody has any other updates for gaming stuff coming up that they want to share.
Nah, nothing from me.
Oh, there's been suggestions in the chat for Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, as a speed run. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Those are finite games with endings too, so that would work.
Or Quest.
The aardvark game?
No, like Space Quest, I think is what he's talking about.
Yeah, Space Quest.
Oh, okay.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, level 3 is a hard one on Poltergeist, so that would be a bit of a challenge.
Well, beginning to end games is all the graphics adventures and stuff. I mean, depends what kind of speed run you want to do.
That's true.
There's all the
Quest for
Mark David
Felda
adventures.
might be one too, though. I've heard some people say there's bugs and you can't complete it, but I haven't played it for long enough to find that out.
Okay. Shall we take another commercial break and then projects and updates?
Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
It's good.
Make it so, number one.
You are watching CocoTALK, the world's leading weekly video podcast, featuring a Tandy-colored computer. We spread the love to the past, present, and future for all models, including the original color computer, the Coco 3, and the world-renowned exclusive French-Canadian Coco 2, the Radio Shack.
CocoDE, c'est le coq champignon, des micros et dans le pion. Pour le jeu, il n'y a pas bavard, les études, c'est pas bizarre. L'expansion, il a ça, les commandes, tu vas voir ça. Notre Coco est programmable, pour tes cours, c'est bien serviable. CocoDE de Radio Shack, ton affaire est dans le sac.
Un ordinateur couleur qui a de la personnalité. Le Coco 2 de Radio Shack. En solde pour Noël à partir de 149,95.
CocoDE de Radio Shack, ton affaire est dans le sac. C'est toi et CocoDE.
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes.
What's that doing in there?
It might be the Coco Do one.
So,
Keep going.
Well, you
It
know
might
what?
be the-
That does remind me, there is a new Coco Thoughts. Why don't we go ahead and do that?
And now, Coco Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. I wish I was on my way to Florida right now. That would be a switcheroo.
Tell me why.
Wrong button.
That seems like that was thrown together at the last moment.
Very topical, though.
Actually,
Very topical.
I have to add something here.
Like an ointment.
I just found this on the Coco list. A guy in the San Francisco Bay Area, so this might interest you, some of you people out there, is selling a bunch of Coco-related hardware and software, including Fexter and Manual, Temple of Rom and Original Manual, Dungeons of Daggerath Manual, Zaxxon and Manual, Flight Sim 2 and Manual, Typing Tutor, Radio Ball, Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, Color Computer Deluxe Joystick, some of the Coco 3 programming reference guides and disk basic system guides and cassette manuals and a bunch of other things. And he's in is Dublin nearby San Francisco Bay Area? For those of you who are there.
Yes, there's a Dublin, California near here.
Okay, I'll just briefly share this here. He's actually put it up on Craigslist. I'll put the link in YouTube chat too.
Hey, Mark,
Since this was just posted, this should still be active. So,
Mark B, there's also new Joey and Coco.
Okay.
Okay, let me just get the screen over here. Share quickly. Oh, you got to shut the sharing thing off so I can share quick.
All right. Let me get there. Okay.
You seeing that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So $199 for the whole lot, which is a lot of cartridges and manuals for just about everything he's got. And there's the complete list there. And the post just went up 36 minutes ago, so I'm imagining that'll be on for a while. So anybody in the area is interested in this kind of stuff, that might be something worthwhile looking at.
Is it buy it now price or is it auction?
It's Craigslist.
Oh, Craigslist. Sorry.
David Ladd, he has 10 plus floppy disks.
Oh, yes.
He's even got blank computer cassettes if you want to go even more retro.
And
I got a stack of cassettes sitting right here with a tape drive.
Assorted cables. There's another one for David.
Ooh.
Yes, typing tutor.
Typing tutor. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with that one.
After school.
Not as fun as a math tutor, though.
Well, the one thing I noticed is that like a lot of people have been trying to find deluxe joysticks and haven't been able to find them. And he's actually got one in there too with the manual for it too. So anyway, I just saw that actually while we were doing the ads. So
that's cool. That's a good listing.
And I posted the link in the chat. So
why does that floppy diskettes and then below blank floppy diskettes?
I'm assuming that means that some of the floppy diskettes probably have encoded software on them already.
Oh, okay.
Or they're just not blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not blank.
Anyway, sorry to steal their.
They're corrupt.
They're corrupted with data.
Oh, I thought you got the user.
Oh, so it comes with Nightmare Highway?
Okay. So project and updates, or we got a new Joey and Coco?
Oh, let's get the Joey and Coco done first, then we'll do the project updates.
Sounds good to me.
Paste that up there. Let's see if we go back to some previous ones here. Last week where we left off was Coco was asking if there's a 32 upgrade in the works yet. Let's see what we got here. So Joey goes, "That's it. I give up. What's wrong, kid? I must have pressed reset 50 times and the screen still is red instead of blue. You'd think you could get your colors right. You're lucky you ate in Australia." All right. Good job.
I think you did that one just for Nick.
I have had cases where I hit reset like 30 times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that always sucks.
I know it's random. Like I know it depends on which side of the clock it falls, but it doesn't seem random sometimes.
So, Mister, you only need a Coco 2. Doesn't want to do the F1 reset with a Coco 3.
Oh, did I say that? No, you misunderstood me.
Famous last words.
I meant it's fun. I love it. It really brings back the 80s.
Okay.
Maybe it was just me, but I got it kind of down to a fine art. If you hit a quick click on the reset button a couple times and it didn't work, you would hold it down for approximately 2.5, 3 seconds, and then always switched for me. So it wasn't that difficult.
That sounds familiar.
I seem to remember doing something very similar way back when.
Yeah, you could kind of figure out the timing. Plus, if you were booting up like a text screen and then loading from disk as opposed to a cartridge, you could tell with the way the text came up. There was a thicker version of it that was the blue, and if it was a thin-looking text, then it was the red. So the text actually changed a little bit too. So I could tell when booting it up which color set I was in.
Okay, good. I wasn't the only one that noticed that one. Then that's good.
Okay.
Project updates and acquisitions and general bragging rights for whatever you've done in the past week.
Well, I have a little bit of a kind of an update, just about my experience today. As it's been declared on my way to Florida, I'm in Virginia, but on that way this morning I stopped near Charleston, West Virginia, off of exit 95 of I-77 and 64. And I spoke to Stan Morgan at the Radio Shack dealer there in Charleston. And I probably could have spent several hours chatting, but I picked up a few things. And I just had to mention, oh, yeah, when I was a kid, I had the color computer. And he said, oh, the Coco, we had one of those. And talked about how his wife did programming and stuff on it, and had a lot of fond memories of that. And I said, "Yeah, there's even a Facebook group." He's like, "Oh, what's that?" And told him so he said he was gonna look that one up, and also let him know about the All Things Tandy and Radio Shack Facebook group. So, but great conversation. It's in a shopping center. It's one of the better Radio Shack dealers that I've ran into. And again, they're in Charleston, West Virginia. It's right off the interstate. A lot of these dealers are kind of out in the country and whatnot, but it's really nice being right off the interstate.
Hey, we could have had a live remote from there.
You know what Stevie needs to do? He needs to give us business cards, so that way when we're traveling out and we're at places like, they go, "Oh, really?" Well, we can give him cards.
I have one of Stevie's business cards here, so he does have them.
What about a complimentary floppy?
So
It's
Jason,
Radio Shack, not Circuit City.
Is this Radio Shack kind of like the one down in Texas, pretty full featured, like the old stores?
I think we lost Jason for a bit there. I think we lost his feed.
He posted some pictures. Yeah, it looked like a full blown Radio Shack. It was pretty big. It's on the Facebook. He's been posting pictures on Facebook all day. So just go to Facebook and take a look, and you'll see.
Did he post the guy's name that he was talking to as well, or?
He may have. I didn't look.
Because it'd be kind of cool to keep an eye on the Facebook group if he does show up and joins the group, that we can, fast track his approval and then start talking to him, maybe arrange an interview or something.
It's such an arduous process as it is right now. Only the best of the best get in our Facebook group, as you can clearly see.
Well, they let Stevie in, so that says something.
He was grandfathered in.
Anybody else have any project updates, etc.?
Yes, I'd like to make a statement.
Okay. Go ahead, Brian, Music Man Schubring.
Will it be Coco related?
Didn't he just make a statement?
Yeah, it was Coco related, but oh well. Well, here's the first one. I've got a mental Coco.
A metal?
Mental.
Coco? Mental.
Is that a PC case back there?
Okay.
As with most speech-bound pack stuff, I didn't really understand most of what it was saying, but
I think it fell down the well. Timmy.
I heard something about I am a Coco 3 or something along that line, and after that, I have no idea. Can you translate, Brian?
Hello, I am a Coco 3. I am an 8-bit computer. In the past, 8 bits was 2 ducks, and I only worth 2 ducks. I can do so much more.
He only works for $2. Is that what he said?
No, 8 bits is worth $2.
Well,
such as the introduction of the mental Coco.
I can aid team. A special person needed me to say Nick Malta. Nick Malta.
You said it better than I did.
You're hired.
That's all I had, guys.
Brian.
Yo.
Did you see my video that I played on here last week?
Yes. I remember it.
Asking Brian.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
You should go watch my video. It's a comment on last week's show on Facebook. Should be the first comment on there. Also have it on YouTube.
All right, I'll find that.
Anybody else have any project updates? Acquisitions?
I can give a few notes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I've been pretty busy over here last week. I participated in, I think it was Saturday's evening gaming stream. I also repaired a Coco 2, which needed a diode replaced. I repaired my, where is it now? Craft joystick. It's not, there it is. This craft joystick here, which it's not the Tandy one, that's for sure. It's gray. Pretty sure it's from some other computer system.
Oh, okay.
But the grommet on here, I had to take it apart and unsolder the cable. This grommet was gone, so I fixed that.
What DIN connector or what connector does it have in the end if it wasn't the Coco
it
one?
has a Coco connector on it, but I think it probably didn't have a Coco connector originally.
I also see it's got a little block where the second button went too that the Tandy ones didn't have, if I remember. Like the single button
That's
Tandy ones, I don't
correct.
think they had that little square piece where the second button went.
Right. Yeah, Tandy ones may not have had this, but I don't know. Gray one, maybe it was Apple or Commodore or something, but
More like
it works fine
IBM
on the
probably.
Coco with the cut cable.
Yeah, the Apple ones are beige, kind of like the Tandy ones, because I gave one to Stevie for his Apple IIc.
So yeah, what else did I do? I've been doing some non-Coco stuff as well, just general retro things. I worked on the ZX81 that I have. I'm working on some repair work on Commodore 64. So yeah, I've been pretty busy in the last week.
Jason, I see you're back. Did you have anything further to add?
Oh yeah, technical difficulties. Of course, happens only when I'm talking. He gave me a business card. I was just going to point that out, but that's probably about it. Nice business cards too. But
what's his
What
name?
was his name? Because we're going to try to see if we can monitor if he joins a Facebook group and maybe arrange an interview or something.
Stan Morgan. He says he's been a Radio Shack dealer for, I think, at least 40 years now. They had just recently, within the last year, moved to that location. I guess they were somewhere further out, but it's a wonderful location right off the interstate there, and a lot of DIY stuff there too. I bought some deoxid and some solder wick. I plan on making that store a regular stop anytime I go through Charleston now. It's really awesome. But yeah, I have an email form, so I am gonna email him when I get a chance. And I took some pictures in the store. I'll be posting those later, probably on the All Things Tandy and Radio Shack Facebook group when I get a chance. Probably maybe this evening.
Now you mentioned that he and his. Go ahead, Nick.
Are you in the Battery Club now?
No, I not in the Battery Club, but I am in North Carolina now.
Jason, you mentioned earlier before you got cut off with the bad connection there that he and his wife both had used Cocos and knew what they were.
Yes, he remembered that I said color computer and he said Coco, and that just
ooh, there you go.
That he's like, oh yeah, this that, and he was talking about the different catalog. I guess he said anytime a lot of the Radio Shack items, anytime there was a letter after the catalog number that denoted a different revision. I wasn't aware of that, but that was pretty cool. Nice guy to talk to. I could probably spent hours chatting with the fellow, but unfortunately we had to get going, and I'm sure he had business to conduct. But great fellow there, Stan. It's actually Stan and his wife Sue Morgan there at the Radio Shack dealer there in
yeah, because
Charleston,
if Sue is actively using the Coco back in the day, which it sounded like you had mentioned that she was, then we should try to get them both on, because it's not too often we have women that use Coco, especially back in the day, that we've been able to interview. So that would be an excellent interview to have the two of them once.
I got his card. I actually he gave me several cards, so yeah, I'll try to touch base with him at some point and maybe get more details. But
cool.
It was a lot of fun.
On Google, I see these in a strip mall right between the GNC and the AT&T store.
Right. Yep. Right there. That's it. They even have a sign that says something to the effect, yeah, Radio Shack. Yeah, that still exists. Come on in.
And Fred has posted his address up on the chat.
Yeah. Yes, there's still a Radio Shack. That's what it says. Come on in.
Cool. I hope we can set up an interview. That would be awesome.
Did you tell him about the corporate store in Texas?
No, I didn't. I thought he told me that all the Radio Shack stores are independent dealers, all the ones that are still open. He said there's about 500, I believe he said.
I think the one in Texas is independent too, but they did it just like the corporate stores.
Okay.
Well, I thought they're trying to reestablish a corporate structure.
Some company owns the what was left of Radio Shack, basically. I don't know what their plans are though.
Because the guy in Texas said they plan to build like 4 stores or something.
Yeah, that was my understanding too. Is that they are trying to restart the corporate Radio Shack as opposed to just the independents.
Because somebody must still own that name, you would think.
I think I thought at one time like Sprint or Samsung or one of those larger companies we've heard of before owned the rights to that. But one other interesting thing at the store, he had these huge like grab boxes and of all different kind of components and stuff. And he said when the corporate stores shut down, that there was a set hard date, and at that date, anything that was left got sent back to the warehouse, and then he was able to go to like the regional warehouse and buy boxes of stuff at like a flat rate. And so he had quite a few huge grab boxes of like, I forget, one box had like 600 and some odd doodads and components and whatnot. I did decline on that one. It was fairly inexpensive, but I was like, well, I've got a lot of this already. So
all right. Well, we've had David O'Connor join us from Down Under.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, David.
Some big internet problems here. I've only just been able to get on the internet, so yeah, it's been a bit of an issue, but I'm here.
Hello.
Hey, Ron, how you doing, mate?
Good.
Well, David, you
Good
just
to see
joined
you.
us for the acquisitions and updates thing. So do you have anything to update us on your various projects?
Yeah, I sort of do. Work is progressing on my Coco 3 to Model 4 case project. I've just got to get a 12-inch monitor now, and that'll all be going ahead. And also during the week, I was going through some of my old stuff again, and I found an old exercise book from the 80s of a couple of programs that I wrote to get my Coco 1 to draw fractals. Yeah, I haven't got my camera working at the moment, so I was planning on actually showing that, but the camera isn't working. So
Well, we can save it too when your bandwidth's a bit better too, because if you're having problems with the internet, you probably wouldn't want to soak it with video and then have it go bad again.
Yeah, well, it's actually not so much technical issues; it's more bank issues. I've had a problem with my Visa card people and all the rest of it, and direct debits for my internet plan each month. Sorry. Not going through properly for some weird reason, and everything's there. There's plenty of money in the account, but they're saying no, it's not working properly. And it's like,
We had a big issue here in Canada too, at least in my part yesterday.
Okay.
With
Well,
TD.
maybe it's a time for it.
Maybe it's a hacker.
Someone doesn't like CocoTalk.
Well, you know, England.
There's a lineup for that, but anyway.
England just left the EU. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Well, we need Australia to get out of the UN, so we need a UN exit or an Oz exit or whatever you want to call it. We won't go into that. This is CocoTalk, not political talk.
Oh, that's a whole separate series, right?
Yeah. We could really annoy everybody in our, in our audience base if we start talking politics.
Yeah, let's not do that.
No.
Anybody else have any project acquisitions, updates, etc.?
I've been working on Ed Snyder's View program. He made a Windows version, 64-bit and 32-bit, so that I can take pictures and put them on the Coco 1. Works great. If you get a chance, stop at Ron's Garage and take a look at all the pictures I've been messing with. I made a disc of 6 or 7 examples that you can download and put them right on your Coco VGA. It's made for the Coco VGA specifically.
I've been following what you've been posting on there, Ron. There's some really cool stuff.
That's a lot of fun.
I've downloaded a program myself. I've been meaning to get into it myself on my 2 Coco ones.
Yeah, it's just like High Color, only for the Coco 1, 2.
VGA.
And what's cool about it is we never ever thought we'd have pictures like, current pictures. You could take a picture and put it right on your Coco, and is
not in color anyway. I mean, we did have the DS69B, which you have too.
Yeah,
for
but
the black and white grayscale stuff.
Yeah, but this is color, and it's in some cases it looks pretty darn good. In other cases, it doesn't translate really well. But
it's got to be something close, like a close up of a face is better than like a long shot of something, because you're only looking at 128 by 96 resolution. So
and the number of colors.
And also, and besides color, you do have 16 gray shades. So if you make it a gray shade, a 16 color gray shade, it comes out pretty nice too.
Playing around with the palette that's cool. Bit of tricky.
That looks great.
That come out great.
Now, Ron, is that supporting both versions of the Coco VGA, the 512 color version and the 32,000 color version?
I don't know. I have the original version, so I don't know.
Someone asked that question to Ed, and Ed said something about it. It doesn't really matter, or I don't think it matters. Pulling from the 32,000 color palette, but he gave some kind of explanation as to how it didn't really matter. I don't know the exact, but I
guess only have 16 colors to pick from. I mean, the only time you'd really show is if you have a screenshot of something that has a lot of the same color, like
right. So if you're dipping into a 512 pull or a 32,000 pull, it's not that much difference.
Yeah.
And it's all based on.
And I guess the thing is, if it's working on the original one that you've got there, Ron, then it will be counterintuitive for it not to work on the later models. Usually they're pretty good.
I knew it would work. I was just wondering if there was a different, like if you actually took a look at the two running side by side, you'd notice a difference or not.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good question actually. What's it? The original one's the red board, isn't it? And then the I think the blue board was the 32,000. Is that right? Or I think I can't remember what I've got in mind.
My board's blue, and it's
mine is too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, what you're seeing behind me right now is Coco VGA. I figured out how to, play around in the Coco VGA mode a little bit, and I'm working on trying to figure out how to work with the palettes now.
Are you green screening that, John, or are you using a projector to do that?
No green screen, just Zoom has the video option now.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, the replace background thing.
Yeah. Virtual background, right?
Yeah,
there's a utility that comes with the software with the Coco VGA, and it lets you do width 64, and it is so sharp and clean and clear. It's like amazing. I just sit there and stare at it for a little bit, and then I thought, well, I'll do a directory on the basic program and look at that, and it's just like, wow, it's just so clean, and there's so many letters going across the screen, and it's still neon green.
Coco 3 text and a Coco 1. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Actually, you need more rows too, because it's 64 by 32, so it's even more than the 80 by 28 on the Coco 3.
Yep.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and it's crystal clear VGA output too.
It sure is.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, it looks great. I mean, one thing I found with the Coco VGA too is that you don't need a super high-end VGA monitor for it to look good. I mean, a lot of the if you're running a modern PC and you connect up a cheap monitor, sometimes the lack of contrast ratio makes things look a bit ordinary. But I've found with the Coco VGA, even a cheap monitor still looks really good.
Yeah.
It looks way better than anything that you get out of the RF or composite.
True.
And speaking of the Coco VGA, I probably should have mentioned this in the news too. There's been a bit of a bug discovered, it looks like, on the timing for Dragonfire, because it's changing the color set register on the VDG like 5 times per scan line to get the mixing of the first 4 colors and the second set of 4 colors on the same scan line. So not just the green, yellow, blue, red, and then your buff, cyan, magenta, orange.
Yeah.
And he found out, I can't remember who posted the actual pictures of it. But basically, was it Simon?
Yeah. Because he had me checking it on my hardware.
Because basically, it looks like he's not covering the border properly for that. So the border gets kind of screwed up when you're doing the mode switches between. The graphics itself on the main part of the screen is fine, but the border is doing wonky things based on when you're changing.
Sometimes the graphics are off too. It depends on like when you run it and it crashes. Because I have it like when I load it, it'll run until I hit start. And when I start a game, it goes for about 20, 30 seconds and then it reboots. So it's pretty wonky. Yeah, because I didn't know anything about it. I've never even seen the game, and Simon brought it up, and because I have the real hardware, he's like, "Hey, can you check this out?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I was posting we were communicating back and forth, and I posted a couple of videos because they were too big to share in a message to him. So I just posted them on Facebook, and then some discussions popped up about it, and Brendan jumped in and was asking questions too, and
yeah,
they thought I had a bad copy. I was like, no, I tried 2 different copies, and there's definitely some sort of bug. But I mean,
you have the ROM pack too?
I don't have the ROM pack. I was going off with the disk images.
I tried it with the ROM pack.
Does it do the same thing, Ron? Or
I don't think so.
on the CocoVGA?
It does the green on the sides, but it worked okay.
Is that
it didn't crash?
No.
Is that a ROM pack you used or a ROM pack?
Yeah, ROM pack. Yeah, it's both actually, if you think of it.
And to be honest, I think Dragonfire will be the only program that has that, because that's the only program I know that tried to change the color settings, on multiple times on the same scan line. There's multiple programs that split the screen like Musica did. They did text mode in the first half, and then graphics.
And Musica works fine on CocoVGA real hardware. Yeah. I had it running the other day, and I had trouble running it at first, and then some guy pointed out, he says, after you load the program, you have to type run, not exec.
Yeah, and that's unique to that particular copy, because I have one that you don't do that.
Yeah, because it's a machine language program, but after you load it, there's a basic program loaded. You can list it and everything. It's kind of
and then the basic calls the machine language routines, obviously.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the CocoVGA has been tested for doing, if you change something per scan line, it works fine. So I've seen, there's one demo, and I think it was Color Computer Magazine. It actually had like both color sets of the text mode. It had 2 lines of text in green, 2 lines text in orange, and then it did P mode 3, P mode 4, both color sets of random graphics. It was actually doing 6 modes on the screen at once, and the text was scrolling. And that demo works on the CocoVGA. It's only once per scan line. It doesn't try to do like Dragonfire and change it multiple times per scan line.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just I've been working with Simon. He's kind of taught me how to do that, and he showed me how to do it. So I actually wrote a program that does that. It's really quite simple. You just kind of wait for the sync, and then when the sync hits, you change the mode, and then you do the same thing for the horizontal, and boom, then you just loop around again.
Using interrupts, obviously, to do that too.
No, as a matter of fact, you disable interrupts. Well, you load A with FF03.
Yeah, you load it from the PIA, because you can manually read the H-sync and V-sync signals.
Right.
Because if you do an interrupt-driven, because they tied the H-sync to the regular interrupt, and it takes so many CPU cycles to push all the registers and then pull them back off, you've lost so much CPU time. You have no time to do anything. So if you just manually read it.
Yeah, you load A with with FF03, and then you branch plus back around to your loop.
This is a point where Steve would say something. What would he say right now?
He'd say, please continue. This is fascinating.
Yeah. No, it's a very simple loop. You just load the A register with that register, and then you branch plus back to the loop. And then when the interrupt triggers, it falls through. You punch in the numbers to change the mode, and then
load the register with a different palette for the second half of the line.
There's 232.
Drive wire.
I mean, it's literally like a dozen lines of code, less than a dozen lines of code.
Yeah, it's good for graphics demos and stuff. I don't know if I do too much of a game on that. Though some people have. I mean, they've had the text screen and the graphic screen mix. So
I think it's time for me. All this assembly talk. It's time for me to get. I've been talking about refreshing my chops on assembly, because it's been 30 or 35 years since I've actually written anything in assembly, so I've forgotten most of it. But it comes back really quick. I've been getting into the assembly book, the brown covered book, and just going through that, and got the editors and plus on the SDC. So yeah, I think all this talk is further inspiration to get back into the assembly and maybe write some of my step sequencing stuff in assembly.
Yeah, and just the fact that we've got all these new games come out, Temple of Rom 2, we've got Gunstar, we've got Digger 3, they're all in assembly, so people can see what you can do in assembly. It's pretty darn impressive, especially now that everybody's been learning, the programs have been at it a long time, are learning all the secret tricks on the gimme type thing to pull off all kinds of stunts, and then they can kind of teach the rest of us lowlings to do the same type of thing.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the Gimme X. That's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah, anybody else got any project updates or?
Curtis, if you give me a minute, I remembered I found something in my garage when I was cleaning it the other week. Let me get it. It's right here. I just have to find it.
Okay, I think Ron might have a copyright and Garage found stuff though, so we'll have to check with him if it's okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Good. And David Ladd, did you have something, Sue? Because you lit up for a second there.
Oh, David's got something huge, he says.
That's why he lit up.
I was digging around in my garage, and I found some old
Mark, can you zoom up his screen?
Listings, and this is a program. If I can see what I'm doing here, program that I wrote all in assembly language using ETASM, and this is, if you see the comment at the top,
desktop publishing,
part of a desktop publishing program. Yeah.
Very cool.
What year?
I think I have if I look, sorry, I'm not more prepared. I should have a sample of its output somewhere in one of these folders.
So is this a Coco 1.2 program or Coco 3 or?
Yeah, we only had the gray Coco 1. So
is this something you published or just
oh no,
did for yourself?
I wrote it for myself. So yeah, I have more. I should have some more stuff in here.
This is all from the 80s.
I did like font stuff. Did my own fonts.
Oh, that's
all
cool.
kinds of things. Let me see if I can find one of the samples. I know.
Now, do you still have the program, Mike?
Unfortunately, I think the discs got mangled, but I may be able to piece together, from these notes here. I may be able to piece together enough of it to get it going again if I actually scan all this and go through all of it. So what the program actually does is there's two parts to it. Basically, I had played around with Mac Paint a lot, and I discovered that on the Mac Paint disk, they had a whole bunch of fonts, and I figured out how to write a program that could, I either take a text file or a type in, which I think that program that I had actually takes input from the keyboard, and basically wrote a little character generator routine that took the file and typeset the text using the font, and so I made a bunch of different screens of that, and I had another program that took it was two. Basically, it's all P mode 4, so it's two. If I find it, I can show you. It's two P mode, 2 columns, and 3 rows of P mode 4 screens, and then you put those 6 or 8 put those 6 or 8 screens together into one file, and then I had another printing program, so you could include text and graphics and other things. So that was how this thing worked, and it was all on, Coco 1 disk system. So I'm not finding the sample at the moment, but I know it's in here somewhere. So how about I dig around and find it, and
we'll
I'll
see if
get back
anybody
to
else
you.
has any updates in the meantime.
Yeah. If you were to put all that back into your computer, I guess you'd be doing it via you'd do OCR rather than typing it in these days, wouldn't you?
Oh, of course,
so
I would
better.
do. Try to get a good scan of it, and
Do
debug it afterwards for one odd character.
Yeah, that's the
Oh
problem
yeah,
with CR.
yeah.
Well, that
there's a-
semi-graphics game I put up from Spectrogram magazine, I had to do that too because it scanned a few things wonky. I had to go fix by hand afterwards. So.
Probably better off typing it in.
I
No,
found
that's way too much
found one
typing.
that's not on found one that's not on the computer, but this was just a typewriter paste up, the Furman Gazette. But I definitely have a
Cool.
have a printout somewhere. This is not done on the computer, but this is from 1989 earthquake here in the Silicon Valley area. So hi everyone, we're all okay over here. Let me continue looking.
Okay, well, whilst Mikey is looking, David Ladd, did you have a update?
So
Grease Weasel.
actually, that was one of the things I was gonna mention. For those that haven't heard, the Grease Weasel is a device that you can hook to the USB and hook a real floppy drive to it, and you can read those disk images as what they call flux images. And what I've been finding is that it's very handy, especially if you have damaged disks that you need data off of, because then you can actually see the data. But it's been handy because the fact that I've been able to recover some floppy disks for the MM1 that I don't normally would have access to. So for people that have had old Coco hardware, that like the modified high density controllers, or what was that one floppy controller, Curtis, that you guys had?
Sorry, what?
What was that?
The Grease Weasels are getting to everybody.
I mean, the Grease Weasel is a sequel to some other stuff that was done on the old AT bus, and the biggest thing I used it for when I borrowed one from Tim Lindner is that because it reads at the raw disk capacity or raw disk level, like of charges of magnetics and stuff, you can read any disk format. You can read, ones with all kinds of weird copy protection because it'll read it literally. It doesn't care about, what the disk controller chip thinks it wants to do. So I was able to make backups of a lot of copy protected stuff that, either was cracked improperly or wasn't cracked at all that I had found. So it's helpful for that. So if you have any copy protected disks that haven't been, officially cracked yet properly, it does allow you to make backups and make DMK or SDF disk images that you can then use to play those programs or games.
Sounds like quite a useful utility for that alone.
Yeah.
Well, besides that, recovery, that was my main reason for assembling one, was for being able to just get access to floppies that, I didn't have access to. Like right now, I don't have a floppy controller that is capable of high density on the Coco at the moment, but I used to use it all the time back in the early 90s, which of course, I can't read the disks because, PC USB floppy drives only do 512 byte sectors, period. So,
talking of disks, just a brief segue for a second. On the Coco STC, when I load up something like ColorMax or CocoMax or something like that, and I create a wonderful artwork and then go to save it, I can only save it on the disk image that CocoMax itself is on, because that's what's loaded on the Coco STC. Does anybody know if there's a way of saving to a place other than the mounted image, or is that not possible?
If you mount multiple images on different drives, like drive 0 has this image, drive 1 has this image, drive 2, drive 3, and then you just specify that drive number in CocoMax or something like that, it should work.
So can you? I didn't realize you could actually do that. So you do that through the save menu, do you? I guess, because I just found it to save.
Well, before you run CocoMax, you have to do like drive 0 is this disk image, drive 1, quote is this disk image to mount them, And then when you're in the
Okay,
Coco SDC, if you do a :1, it'll save to whatever image you got mounted on drive 1, for example.
You can do it through SDC Explorer as well. You can mount on drive 1.
Yeah, but you can't
Oh,
route
so-
multiple drives.
Does
Yeah, okay, yeah.
CocoMax 1 support multiple drives?
I'm pretty
There
sure
is-
it did.
There's a version that
2
does.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm mostly interested in ColorMax at the moment because I can use that with a standard
That will.
joystick with reasonable
ColorMax for sure
definition.
does. ColorMax and
Yeah,
ColorMax Deluxe
okay.
and CocoMax 3 all do.
Yeah, okay, cool. But at the moment, I've just been duplicating the image with the program, and then for every image that I create, I'll have a copy of ColorMax on that disk image. But it seems like a bit of a, with SD, modern SD, it's not a problem, but it's still a bit, it's inefficient.
I
Do you
think
know
on the
how to-
SDC drive 2, drive 3 are drive wire only, not SD card images.
No, you can override that, I think.
No,
you?
it's
Oh, you
it's
can?
a hardware limitation.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you can only do drive 0 and 1 with.
Right,
Yes.
because it emulates a double-sided drive on drive 0 and drive 1. Drive 2 and 3 through
drive wire.
SDC Basic are drive wire drives only, or if
Yes.
you do the drive off command on those 2 drives, then you could access a physical drive.
Ah, that's what I tried because
Okay.
I have 3 floppies on one of my systems, so that makes sense.
Yeah, or if you
Right,
do a
right.
drive off on drive 1 and you have a real floppy drive hooked up, then you could save to drive 1.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, you
So in ColorMax itself, I just do type in the file name that I want to save it as, and then do like a :1 for drive 1 or something like that.
I don't know. I think you choose under the menu which is going to be your data drive and which is going to be your main program drive. It's been a
Okay.
while since I've used it. But
Yeah, okay. I'll do a little bit of experimentation then, but it's good to know that I can do that. But I mean, it's not that it really matters because, like I said, with SD cards, you can multi-gigabytes and stuff. I'm never going to run out of space on it, saving stuff from the Coco. But it is good to know that I can do that.
Yeah.
drive
David, did you have
wire.
anything further to add to your floppy endeavors? I almost can't believe I'm asking this.
No, actually,
You're
right
fired.
Yeah, please tell us more
now,
about.
Hey. No, actually, right now, I don't have anything to add for the floppy
Okay,
related
thanks,
stuff
bye.
at this time. Nick, don't make me actually come down there too. But
Stuck in an
yeah,
elevator again.
yeah. And as far as the mouse stuff, no, there's no updates on the mouse. Sorry, guys. I know you've been asking me. There's no updates yet.
More importantly, is there any update on you cleaning your room?
No comment.
Translation: no.
which project have you finished?
Nick, you're not going to get a mouse adapter.
That's
okay, Nick. I'll send you one.
All right. Are we ready for another break?
I got one small update I'll put first before we go to a break.
I found a sample of my printer thing.
Oh, did you find it?
I found one. I didn't find the actual newspaper one, but our streamer got up.
I'll do my little bit first, and hopefully we'll be back to zoom you up afterwards. Then, so as you all know, I've been working on, or not working on, Ease of Use Beta 5 because I've been busy with stuff with my mom and stuff. But I actually did manage to finally get. We're adding a new system call in the new version of Nitrous 9 that allows you to modify a device descriptor in RAM without having to map it in. Because one problem I hit with G-Shell is a pretty big program. It takes, on the 6809 version, it takes 24K of the system of your 64K workspace for G-Shell itself, and then the data area depends on how big your directories and stuff you're running from. And I found out while trying to map in, because basically I want to be able to launch a VDG-based game like Rescue on Fractalus or the Sierra game, et cetera, directly from G-Shell without having to make all these little sub-programs that have to launch other programs to save memory and stuff. And I found out that the way it works right now is when you try to link it in order to modify it, it links in, if it's part of your OS9 boot, it links the entire OS9 boot file in, which for most people is between 24 to 32K in itself, which means if you're in a large directory, it won't even load. It can't link, it errors out with a memory error. So Bill and I have been working on a new system call that will allow you to just pass some parameters to the system call, and it'll go modify it in the system app itself, so it doesn't have to do any of this crap. So no more launching extra programs. We finally got that working. and I'm just starting to work on G Shell itself now to implement it. I did a quick little test, and it seems to be working okay. But then I discovered, because what I'm doing is I'm modifying regular window descriptors to become VDG descriptors. So you don't have to have all these separate VDG descriptors. We'll be replacing it. Right now, the current version of EOU has 8 windows and 7 or 8 VDG windows. And what it's going to be changing to is 15 generic windows that can change to be a VDG on the fly whenever you want. So that way you could, if you want, you can run 15 normal windows with, you know, overlays and graphics and everything else, or you can run any mix up to 15 of VDG and regular. So it'll be a bit more diverse and expandable. But I found out the way I was doing it currently, it would actually create the VDG window, but when it exits, let's say you played Cronus Rift and you quit, that window is still left as a VDG because you've temporarily changed it. So when you try to launch another program from G Shell after that window's been closed, the system or the G Shell system doesn't know that that's been changed to VDG, and it tries to launch a normal windowing program on that and immediately craps out the legal type errors and all kinds of crap. So that's what I'm going through and trying to fix right now, is having G Shell keep track of what the window type was before, temporarily change it to a VDG. You launch your game or app or whatever that you're doing, come back from it, and then it'll reset it back to normal so that it doesn't blow up all these other programs. Because basically the way I had it before is that after you've played a couple of VDG games, you can never create a normal window again afterwards. So that's where the state of that is. But once I get that up and working, I'll probably release beta 5. Because there's a bunch of other things we've already changed in the meantime that have been kind of sitting on hold, waiting for me to get this.
I have a question. Hands up.
Sure.
You say that it's launching a VDG window, but games like the Sierra games and Rescue at Fractalus aren't VDG games as such. They're not using VDG graphics mode. So how do you define then, I mean, when you say it's got to launch a VDG window when the game actually runs in a gimme graphics mode?
That has to do with the way Tandy set it up. Basically, the regular windowing system, the regular windowing system is set up to do overlay windows and, you know, fonts and everything else like that. And that goes through either a module called CoGraph, originally called GraphInt, or CoWin, which has the higher level menu handling stuff. But basically, those were meant to be stuff where you always go through system calls, or you always go through escape codes to do everything. It was never designed to do direct screen writes. In fact, they didn't even have that enabled. There was no way to do direct screen writes without a lot of, you know, futzing about. On the VDG, since they already had this VDG driver from the Coco 1 and 2, they decided, well, how about we add direct screen writes there? Because it's not going to take much overhead. All it has to basically do is map in a screen and map it out and allocate memory for a high-res screen. So they added some support for direct screen. You can, you know, tell the VDG driver, I want to have a 160 by 192 16 color screen. Actually, no, I want 2 of them. So you go allocate those, and then you tell me, you know, that they're allocated successfully or not if I ran out of RAM. And basically then you can select, you know, I want to display screen 1, I want to display screen 2, so you can do page flipping. So the VDG drivers actually have all the support for direct screen writes, where you can map the entire screen into your own space and write to it directly. Whereas the regular windowing system, you send escape codes and then it goes to the graphics driver that then does the drawing, which of course is slower because it has to do switching back and forth. And of course they're optimized to mix between different resolutions and stuff instead of specific types. So that is the reason, because all the direct screen write games, Sub Battle Simulator, Cronus Rift, all the Sierra games, Rescue and Fractalus, all the rest of those, all use direct screen write. So they all use the VDG driver to do that direct screen mapping. Now, in Nitrous 9, we've added a way to directly map even windowing screens. So newer authors can use that to their advantage, because then they can mix and match. You can draw text on the screen using a normal, you know, the regular windowing system, and then also map in the screen and then write all your graphics really fast. But back in the day, that was not how it worked. So for backwards compatibility's sake, we have to do it this way.
So using this might be a simple, seem like a pretty simple question, but I'm a relative, a complete novice when it comes to OS 9. But on systems with 512K and up of RAM, or 2 meg, because we've got some of us have got with the Boys and Tech updates. The RAM allocations for all of these screens, that's done by the OS, isn't it? You don't have to actually assign it yourself. So you can forget about how much extra RAM you've got and just let OS 9 take care of everything.
It allocates get put buffers, screens, the actual windows, overlay windows, which preserve the underlying contents. You don't have to redraw them like you do on most other operating systems. If you pop up an overlay window, it actually saves whenever you tell it to. it'll save everything underneath. And when you say overlay window end, it actually automatically redraws everything that was there before. So
that's cool.
Things like that. So.
And like an operating system.
Well, most modern operating systems don't do that either. They actually they send a flag back saying please redraw. Like if you've resized the screen, redraw the scroll bars, redraw the contents, because obviously it's changed a bit. So that was actually a nice little shortcut for us Coco people.
Cool. Okay.
Reasons to get back into OS, or not back into, but reasons to get into OS 9. I still haven't really dived in. It's for me. It's been more of a sort of a it's like OS 9 to me. I've got to learn a whole new thing. It's like learning assembly, and it's or learning basic at the beginning. So that's been a bit of a stumbling block to me. But the more I hear about it, the more I hear about the cool things you can do. I keep on thinking, I should really dive in and get into this properly and play around with it.
No, I mean, if depending what type of stuff you like to write, it's a lot easier to write certain types of programs, like file intensive programs and stuff and utilities and things. It's a lot easier to write in there because most of the stuff's in the operating system already built in for you. If you want super fast games like like Nick or Chet would write, there are ways to do it, but you will never get complete control of the machine because the operating system has to have some say in the background. I mean, you can set priorities and stuff and tell the rest of the system to slow down.
Is there a good resource for a raw beginner in OS 9 to go and learn how to actually use it? Because that's been the stumbling block for me. I've been meaning to ask. Each week I keep forgetting about it.
Well, there's books like Dale Puckett's book and Peter Dibble's books on Basic 09 and on OS 9 and OS 9 Level 2 that kind of go as a beginner sample. The OS 9 Level 2 manual is actually not too bad either. Especially the Basic 9 section gives you a lot of sample programs and stuff explaining how everything works. But I do want to once ease of use is much more stable and feature rich like Bill and I are planning. We are going to be doing a video tutorial series on CocoTALK on right from the beginning, taking questions and stuff too. So
yeah, perfect. That's ideal.
D. Bruce in chat, D. Bruce Moore says the article Curtis you're referring to on multiple graphic modes was in the December '83 Color Computer magazine and written by Steve Bjork.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot it was Steve.
I have an OS 9 question. How popular was judging by this panel, how popular was OS 9 in Australia?
Well, we did
have. For me,
I
never even heard of it until CocoTALK. So
well, we did have the OS 9 Australian OS 9 user group here in Brisbane, actually, run by Bob DeVries.
Yeah, and he was one of the bigger ones. Like he was active on the Coco list and the OS 9 FidoNet Echoes. Like he was really active. He was one of the main people on it. So
that's right. And
you guys had your own Coco OS 9 newsletter for years too, didn't you?
Yeah, the newsletter and the club meetings were every second Friday. And shock horror, I actually used to attend.
So now we know how it happened.
Well, the most interesting about Nick on that is I remember I've actually read some of the Australian newsletters and he used to review OS 9 games for the newsletter, like Coronis and Rogue and stuff. So
yeah, well, those games were good.
So when did OS 9 come out? What was it? Was it
originally?
Which one, level 1 or level 2?
Well, I guess level 1, the first version that would run on a Coco.
Oh, jeez. Like 81 or 82?
83 is when OS 9 level 1 came out, September of 83. And then OS 9 level 2 was released a couple months after the Coco 3 itself came out.
That's a wonder I never heard of it, because that was right smack in the middle of the time when I got right into, learning to program my Coco properly. So, and I was part of the local clubs in Geelong, where I lived in Victoria. But I'd still never heard of OS 9 until CocoTALK. So
I actually got a phone call from Tandy saying, OS 9 level 2 is here. Would you like to buy one? So I did.
Wow. That's all right.
Yeah.
And it's been propping up your window ever since.
Well, that's right.
It's my understanding too that they wrote a 68,000 version of it, and it's used in like embedded systems and things like that. So
Oh yeah, they wrote OSK, which is the 68000 version, and for the various chips, so like the 68020, the 30, the 40, the 60. They also wrote OS 9000, which is basically was written in C, but it's cross-platform. So that ran on PowerPC, DEC Alpha, Intel, 68K as well. So I mean, they've had a lot of versions for different platforms.
So it's had a life after Coco too.
Oh, actually, that's where most of the stuff was done. Actually, the Coco stuff. I mean, basically, I think Microware kind of abandoned it not too long after Level 2 came out and Multiview came out, because when the Level 2 was supposed to get the version 3 upgrade, Microware wasn't doing it. That was Kevin Darling and a bunch of the other guys that was doing it kind of on their behalf, because they were already too busy with the OSK and OS 9000. They weren't doing anything directly with Coco at all at that point.
Yeah,
and that would have been the late 80s already.
It's funny when I first heard the term OS 9 being spoken about when I got my first Apple Mac, my G4 running Pro Tools in 1999, I think it was.
Yeah, that's Mac OS 9.
yeah. And then I was hearing everyone saying, "Oh, you can run OS 9 on a Coco," and I was thinking, "What? Really?"
No,
yeah, there was a lawsuit between the two on that one.
I think the biggest problem with OS 9 back in the day was that not everyone had a hard drive, and they were trying to use and learn how to use OS 9 with floppies, and that just drove you nuts. It drove me nuts.
I didn't even have floppies back then. I still had cassette.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I didn't get into it.
Well, you had no chance of running OS 9.
OS 9 on floppy wasn't bad if you had an no-halt floppy, but Tandy didn't sell those unless you knew about the third-party Express thing, which of course they didn't tell you. Well, I ran it on a disto, and I threw in like a 3.5-inch drive running a no halt, and actually it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was a little bit slower, obviously, but it ran pretty good. You could type ahead and you wouldn't lose characters. The software real-time clock didn't lose time. It was actually pretty decent.
Real-time clock.
But it was sad that Tandy, this is one of the things I've complained about Tandy before, is that they did not allow selling third-party hardware or software directly in the stores, and they could have made the Coco, I think, a much more popular if people had known all the other stuff that was available besides what they themselves sold.
Yeah, that was a big oversight with Tandy. Huge.
Tell me why did Tandy do that?
See, that's a good segue.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to. They were too into their PC line at that point that they didn't want anything to compete with it. So they kind of held the Coco 3 back. It was, there was, Coco 3 could have been more than what it was, but
even back in the Coco 1 and 2 days, I mean, they could have been selling Donkey King, Sailor Man, these killer games and stuff for no-halt controllers, which were out before the Coco 3 came out. And they didn't allow any of that, and they wouldn't tell you. Like if you wouldn't ask the manager or something, they wouldn't have a clue it existed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they would have no clue. Generally, the managers didn't have any clue at all whatsoever about the Coco, even in a computer center. They didn't know. It was just like there it is.
I got
over
lucky
there.
here. We had 2 Radio Shacks here that actually had Coco owners as managers, so they actually did know the stuff, and they would actually tell people about third-party stuff. But that was rare, from what I understood.
Yeah, a friend of mine was a store manager, and he had a Coco. We both worked on the Coco together a lot. So yeah, it's not that it was impossible, but in general, you would go into a store. A lot of the managers back in those days, I'm talking like the early '80s, a lot of the managers didn't know anything about computers at all. It's like they're over there in that little kiosk right there, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think Tandy viewed the Coco as a little home computer to compete with the Commodore 64s and Ataris.
Yeah.
They didn't see it as a serious system.
Yep, that's exactly
true. But I mean, they
got.
could have if they allowed third-party gaming software. If you want to compete with the Commodore and the Atari, then you want third-party software support. And we had a ton of decent games written by other people, and they wouldn't do anything with that to tell you about it either.
That's true. Unless you licensed it to them, they didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah. And I mean, Intertan in Australia actually was a bit looser than they were in North America, because at least, people like Nick actually got to sell games through there.
Yeah. Tandy
and they
actually.
Why they didn't, import those games to sell them up here or vice versa, type of thing. I don't understand, but that's what they did.
Why did Tandy do that?
Yeah.
Or not do that?
Spoiler alert, because it was cheap.
Yeah, it's definitely back then, in the early '80s. I mean, at least for me and my friends and everything, couple of mates had had a VIC-20 and then upgraded to a Commodore 64, and then I had the Coco one, and another friend had a Dick Smith System 80, which was the Z80
Model 1 clone.
Model 1 clone, yeah. And so we had we all and someone else had a Dick Smith VZ200 or a VZ300, which were the color competitors to the Coco. So there were a number
the
of
MC10.
the VZ300 was a bit more capable than an MC10, but it was sort of in between the Coco one and the MC10, I suppose. But yeah, very much back then that was where all the action was in the home computer market. That's what they were marketed as here.
The one thing maybe I'm not sure if it's exactly the same in Australia, but up here, if you went to a generic computer store, not a Radio Shack, you could buy software for Apple IIs, you could buy software for Ataris, you could buy software for Commodore. So you had one place, and it was all third-party stuff. It didn't have to be from Apple. It didn't have to be from Commodore. So you had one central place you could find all the stuff.
Oops.
Someone's dropped out.
Yep. We lost your feed there, Curtis.
I think it's time for him to take his sister to the airport.
Yep, she probably pulled the plug.
Time is up.
Your
Well,
time has
did Curtis
expired.
Why did Curtis do that?
Well, let's see.
Why did Curtis do that?
Let's try and imagine what he was going to say.
I think it was something about OS9 again.
I remember.
You can tell us. Sorry about that. I had a connection problem, but I just want to say, actually, I overheard that you guys were mentioning I have to have a hard out here, and that actually is coming up, so I was going to be kind of signing off anyway, but I thought I'd do it officially. Great show being on with you guys here. I don't know how long you guys are going to keep going past this, but thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
It's good to be back.
See you later, Curtis.
We'll talk to you all later.
See you, Curtis.
All right, Curtis.
You're
All right, looks
back
like
now.
Looks like Michael found some more of his stuff over there.
Yeah, this is not the one I want to show. I know that it's around here somewhere, but this is basically a bunch of P-Mode 4 screens that are put together in a column on one page. So it's like 3 or 4 of them. And so I have one that has like a banner across the top, and it's more of a newspaper style. You know, this
So that's a
one
printout
here
of
is
the
like a
P-Mode.
report card from November 1989, where I actually passed all my classes.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
that's part of the.
So that's a print. That's a print of a P-Mode 4 screen, then, is it?
That's correct. Yeah, it's multiple P-Mode 4 screens that are printed in a column. And I had the newspaper one. I'll try to find that over the next week. The newspaper one had another column that went down over here that was also composed of P-Mode 4 screens.
Was that from your publisher program?
Yes, I'm sure this is a sample from that. So
Okay.
Very cool. That's very cool.
It worked.
Yeah.
yeah, I know I ran across the paper, and I'm pretty certain that it went through my scanner somewhere. So it's just a matter of digging around and finding. I don't know if I can find the actual paper one, but I can probably find the one that I scanned eventually.
That's cool.
Back in the day, I remember getting an OS9 program. You know, you boot it and it comes up, and then it goes into the program, and then when it comes out, you're left at OS9, and then I type around, you know, and try and
work out what you're doing.
Yeah, it's OS9, so I do a dir. I do
doesn't work.
HD, yeah, and I go, you know,
That's
and then
where I'm at with OS9, exactly the same.
yeah, so that was my early experience, you know, and then later on when I got the OS9 discs and stuff and basic 09, I brought it up and played around with it and thought, yep, I'm not using this. But it was fun to have.
Yeah, that's sort of where I've got each time. That's why I asked whether about the tutorials, because that's where I've got every time I've loaded up OS 9 myself. I've loaded it. I thought, now what do I do? I don't even know any commands to type in to do it. You know, I think DIR did work. I can't remember, but
Yeah,
then there was
yeah.
this other, and I thought, well, what do I type now?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know the first thing to type except for DIR in OS 9. So, and the date, obviously.
Format.
All right. I'll tell you what. Why don't we throw some sponsors up on the screen so we can thank them, and then run the outro.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Oh,
Sounds
that'll be
good.
fine. I gotta actually go myself, so I'm going to say
Oh.
goodbye, everyone, and you have a great evening, and hope to see you next time.
All
Same
right.
here.
Sounds
David.
good.
Talk to you guys.
Grease
later.
Weasel to you also.
CocoTalk would like to thank its patrons, the real sponsors of our show. So a very warm thank you and gratitude go to Al Hartman, Alan Huffman, Blair Ledoux, Brendan Donahue, Brian Joyce, Brian Weasler, Christina Armstrong, D. Bruce Moore, Davey Mitchell, Diego, Disney Saints fan, Eric Canales, Fedor Stamen, Grant Leedy, Jason Bucata, Jason Downs, Jenna Farron, Ken Reichard, Kyle Eder, Malfunct, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Richard Lorbieski, Rob Inman, Steve Bjork, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tom C., and Tom S. Thank you very much, patrons. This concludes another episode of CocoTalk, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CocoTalk, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live.
CocoTalk is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CocoTalk is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at cocotalk.live.
CocoTalk is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CocoTalk is rocking the 8-bit world.
CocoTalk would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Marc Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Differendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the Coco community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's imacoconut.com. The CocoTalk theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.
All right. But you know what else is even more amazing?
It didn't crash.
2.5 hour show. My computer didn't blue screen.
Ooh, yay, Windows.
I think we made up for it with my phone crashing today. So.
Are we offline?
Oh, no, not yet.
Crash.
This is the post-show segment?
Nah, this is the parting thoughts part.
I'm going to come in and eat with you.
This is where you brush your hair to each side.
Anybody got any parting thoughts? Or have they all parted already?
Goodbye and time for lunch.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Okay, we're gonna push the button.
Oh, well, bye.
Hey, we lost Ron.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.